Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter podcast. And today is going to be another week of another week of college football. More picks. It's been a while. This is week 12. There's only 2 weeks left until the championships. That is crazy to think about. Now, first, with all of our videos, normally you would see our like the cheapest tickets of the week, and and Serbenski would always go over that. However, since I am not Serbenski and I don't feel like going through all the games and figuring out what the cheapest one is, um, unfortunately, we won't be having that today. I hope you guys are not disappointed. I can tell you what game is not the cheapest is Illinois and Michigan, because I was looking at that at the beginning of the year and it was like 40, 30 bucks maybe, and now I think it's jumped up to like 90, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to go with that, especially since it's supposed to be like 20 degrees. So that's a hard pass for me. So first we have our shockers of the week. I don't have Stravinsky's this week. I also don't have Sam's, as Sam is taking a break from the podcast. Really, I think just to focus on school, as he's obviously in college right now. But I think he's taking a break from the podcast so he can focus on studies, and obviously, you got big tests coming up, and so I think he's just taking some time to focus on that. Which, hey, that's what you need to do, right? But anyways, we start with shockers of the week. I don't have Serbenski's, but of course I have my own. And for my own, I am taking Oklahoma State over Oklahoma in a big rivalry game. This is one of the few Bedlam games we're going to have ever, as of course Oklahoma is going to be leaving the Big 12, heading to the SEC in a few years, and so there's only a few more years of Bedlam left, and you're sure, and I can tell you for sure, Oklahoma State's gonna want to get in as many wins as they can, and this is one of their biggest opportunities to do so. Obviously, they're coming off of those two pretty good smackings against both Kansas State and Kansas. Then they eked one out against Iowa State this past weekend, 20-14. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys and I guess the upset there, because it's a 7.5 point line for Oklahoma. But it'll be an interesting one, and I do have Serbenski's now, as he just sent it to me. He has Arizona State. He goes with Arizona State over Oregon State. I believe Arizona State is the road team. I don't have that in the picks this week, so I'll have to adjust that later. Obviously, I don't have the colors or anything like that, so as I said, I'll fix that in a moment. Oregon State actually is ranked 23rd. So that will be that's a interesting pick for Stravinsky, going with his home squad, of course, being in Arizona State. Well, being in Arizona, not Arizona State. Well, he's in the state of Arizona. That's the point. Anyways, so now we're back to picks of the week. So we start with the first one, which was the Thursday night game, which was SMU at Tulane. Me and Stravinsky both took Tulane, and I believe they actually won. I'd have to look. I did not really watch that game. I was too focused on the Titans beating down Aaron Rodgers, which is so awesome to see, and then the Wolverines looking like garbage against Arizona State. We ain't gonna talk about that. Anyways, next game we have Texas Tech at Iowa State. This should be an interesting game. Iowa State, but both teams are actually fighting for bowl eligibility here. Texas Tech will clinch it with a win. Iowa State will be out of bowl contention if they don't win this game. I would say the only team in the Big 12 that plays any defense, but their offense just is kind of lackluster. I'm not a big fan of this Iowa State team. Texas Tech has played close with a lot of good teams this year. They'll play close with another team. They might play close with Iowa State. But I give the Red Raiders the win here. They win in Ames, Iowa, and that's what Serbenski has as well. He has Texas Tech over the Cyclones. Next, we have the Washington State Cougars on the road up against the Arizona Wildcats. Arizona coming off the shocking upset of UCLA at the Rose Bowl a week ago. And now they are back at home against the Cougars of Washington State. I don't think this is going well. Washington State's team, I like their offense. They have Cameron Ward coming from like Incarnate Word or something. I forget where he transferred from, but he's done pretty well for Washington State. Of course, Arizona's quarterback Jaden DeLora looking for a revenge game here against his old team. Should be an offensive game, but I think Washington State should get the win here. And they'll pull it off on the road. Will be a close one, but I'll give it to the Cougars. And that is not where Serbenski is going. He is going with Arizona at home, and he says mark his words, but Arizona is going bowling considering their last games against Arizona State. But that should be a good game. That's definitely one to see come tomorrow because I'm recording this Friday, so come tomorrow when that game plays. Next is Syracuse at Wake Forest. Syracuse has really fallen off a cliff since that 6-0 start. They had that early lead against the Clemson Tigers. They're looking good, and really, since that point, Clemson hasn't been the same team, losing another 3 games, of course, once they fell just short against Clemson, have not looked good against Notre Dame, Pitt, or Florida State. So, I think this will be a solid game, but Syracuse just has not found its footing ever since that Clemson game. I think Wake Forest and Wake Forest has been struggling too, but I think Wake Forest at home will figure it out. I think Wake Forest gets the win here, a big win for them to get back on track, and the poor Orange will drop to 6-5, and yeah, well. Poor Serbenski, and obviously he's a Syracuse fan. He's going with Wake too. He really thinks they're just about to go 6-7. But next we have Duke at Pitt. This is interesting with Duke actually 7-3. Go figure that one. Duke are the first-year head coach. The Pitt Panthers, they've been kind of all over the place. At home, this will be a good game, I think. I don't really know much about the Blue Devils. I don't even know who they've really beaten all year. But I'll go with the Pitt Panthers in this one. They're the home team. I think they're a little bit better of a team. So give me Pitt. Give me Pitt to get a close win at home. Serbenski has taken the Duke Blue Devils in this one to get the win in Pittsburgh. Next, we have the Miami, Florida on the road against the Clemson Tigers. This was expected to be a fantastic game, and ended up being a major bust because Miami, Florida is absolute doggy crap, and they're gonna look exactly like doggy crap in this game because Clemson's about to wipe this team off the face of the earth. This is not a good matchup for Miami, Florida. This is a very good Clemson defense, and this is a very turnover-prone Miami, Florida offense. It's not going to go well for the Hurricanes. Give me Clemson big in this one. That's where Serbenski is going. He's got Clemson as well over Miami, Florida. Next, we have the Kansas State Wildcats in Morgantown against West Virginia. West Virginia looking for a chance to get to a bowl game. I'm all over the place. West Virginia looking for a chance to get to a bowl game as they need to win their last 2. Kansas State simply looking to get to the Big 12 championship game, get a rematch against TCU. Kansas State weirdly has been playing really good with Will Howard as the quarterback and not even Adrian Martinez. So that's interesting. I think this will be a fun game. Definitely one to see. I think this is really one that goes either way. Kansas State is a good team, but they've kind of looked a little bit shaky at times. I think they'll get this win, but it should be very close. I think West Virginia will give them all they can, but the Wildcats, I think, are a better team. So they come out with the win. And that's where Spensky is going. He also has Kansas State over the Mountaineers. Next up, we have Penn State at Rutgers. Penn State is the better team here. Rutgers is always annoying and is a hard and fights hard in every game and will make it difficult for Penn State, but this is still Penn State. They're a better team. Give me the Nittany Lions in this one. That's what Sabensky has too. He is going with Penn State in this one. And next we have Ole Miss at Arkansas. Last week in Arkansas was very interesting as LSU and Arkansas were playing a little bit of some snow. Now, it was not snowing when the game was actually playing. It was bright and sunny. But there was actually snow on the field. And it was icy. It was weird. Down in Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas, you guys know where that is? That's down south. It's like Texas area. And it was snowing. That was interesting. But this should be a fun game. Ole Miss came up just short against Bama, which blew their chances of winning the SEC West, and also guaranteed LSU a berth to the SEC championship. So good job, Bama. Anyways, this should be a fun game. Arkansas came up short against LSU, but they have no KJ Jefferson. I don't know how that will go against Ole Miss. I'll give the Rebels a close one here. Next, we have NC State at Louisville. Both of these teams lost to Boston College, so I don't have a lot of faith in either one of them. This is a home game for Louisville. NC State's of course missing Devin Leary. This is one that goes either way, but give me Louisville. Give me Louisville. I'll take the Cardinals here. I'll go with Malik Cunningham, solid QB, the better QB. I'll go with the better QB. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Serbensky is going with Ole Miss over Arkansas, and he has Louisville taken down NC State, as do I. Up next, we have the Texas Longhorns coming off their home loss to TCU, where shockingly they could not score on the what many people have considered to be the utterly pathetic TCU defense, and now they head on the road to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. I really want to say that Kansas will win this game, but Texas is honestly, I think, the better team. They've been inconsistent at times, but overall they have to have better talent. And I don't know if it'll be higher scoring, but I think Texas can score more than Kansas. So as much as I'd love to see the Jayhawks win this game, I just can't see that happening. Did I go one too far? I think I went one too far. I did go one too far. Yeah, whoops. Yeah, so that's supposed to be Serbensky. But I have Texas winning this game. Serbensky has Kansas. Serbensky has the Kansas Jayhawks winning this one and getting the win at home. Which honestly would be a pretty good pick for a shocker because I think Texas is favored by like 9. I considered it, but of course you guys already heard what my shocker is. For this week. Next, we have Ohio State on the road against Maryland. These are two offenses going up against each other. Maryland, obviously, a bit of a discount Ohio State offense. Ohio State's been incredible offensively this season. I think this will be higher. This will be a lot of scoring for Maryland. It might be a little sloppy for Ohio State in the first half. but that won't last very long. I think Ohio State will. I mean, like I said, I mean, obviously Michigan is next week for Ohio State, so it might be a little lackluster in the first half. But immediately thereafter, they probably will run away with it. And I don't even know, they might just blow them out in the first half anyway, because Maryland just doesn't play defense. So, and we've seen Maryland's offense not look very good. So I think this will probably go pretty well for Ohio State. And that's exactly what Serbinsky has. He has the Ohio State Buckeyes with the win at home, or I'm sorry, on the road against Maryland. Next, we have Oklahoma State on the road against Oklahoma. This is Bedlam? Obviously, this is a huge game for both teams. Well, I mean, just for in terms of the rivalry. But Oklahoma has just absolutely blown apart the Cowboys in this rivalry. This is I think the most lopsided rivalry in all of college football. If you look at the all-time series, like the all-time series record favors Oklahoma by like a significant margin. But this is going to be a good game. Obviously, Oklahoma's team this year, not the greatest team. They're okay, but Oklahoma looking to find themselves bowl eligibility. With trying to get a sixth win, Oklahoma State looking to get a few more wins before Oklahoma leaves the conference. I think they will. This Oklahoma team just is not a great team. Now Oklahoma State has obviously looked really pathetic the past few weeks. I mean, obviously they won last week against Iowa State, but in both of their road games against Kansas State and Kansas, they've been blown out in both of them. They have not really been close. They have not been competitive, and it's really just not been a good look for the Cowboys. But I think they'll get the win here at Oklahoma. Expect a lot of scoring in this game. But I think this one favors the Cowboys. Give me Oklahoma State in a very close one. But Serbinsky is going with Oklahoma to knock off the Cowboys, which is fair. I think this is a 50-50 game. I think it can go either direction, but I'll go with the Cowboys to win this one on the road, get their second road win of the year. Next is Georgia on the road against Kentucky. Kentucky has been very inconsistent this year. Will Levis has been up and down all season long. A team to get back on track against is not the Georgia Bulldogs. Give me Georgia to win this one. It might be at Kroger Field, but this is Georgia. All right. This is the Georgia Bulldogs. This is a very tough team, and this is a very good team. And this is not a kind of team that you want to try and rebound against. So give me the Bulldogs. Pretty big, and well, yeah, that's where Serbinsky is going as well. Next, we have Tennessee on the road against South Carolina. This is a really interesting game. Obviously, South Carolina having a decent year. They've kind of, like Kentucky, that's been up and down. They've had good games, they've had bad games, and now they have a home game, which is a night game, against one of the better teams really so far this year in the country in Tennessee, who has been blowing everybody apart offensively except for Georgia. Shockingly, but this Tennessee team has been outstanding offensively, and this is huge for South Carolina. I think this is a tough one for Tennessee, and this could come down to the very last minute. But I am going to go with the Volunteers in this one. But expect a close game. Expect a very good one in wherever South Carolina is. I can't remember the name of the city. But expect a very good one in Gamecock country. Should be very fun. And Serbinsky, of course, he's a big Tennessee guy. He loves the Volunteer team, so of course he takes Tennessee. And most of you all know that they are not my favorites at all. Next, we have Illinois at Michigan. When Illinois was 7-1, this looked like a really good game, but they've lost their last two games, of which their defense has been exposed by both teams. Of course, they've been exposed by both Michigan State and Purdue, as they had given up 20 points only once all year, which was the Indiana in their second game all season, of which of course they lost. And then the past few weeks, and then these past 2 weeks, they've given up 23 and 31. So obviously not a good look for Illinois' defense, which has been the heart and soul of this team really all year. As their offense has not been great. Of course, their big offense is Chase Brown, who has been having a fantastic season. Some might even argue Heisman contending season. But of course, now with him being hurt, Illinois is just not. They haven't looked good the past few weeks. So now they head into the big house. And the big thing about them losing the past 2 weeks, they were in control of the Big Ten West. And if they had beaten Purdue, they would have been in control of the Big Ten West, even with losing to Michigan State. But they lose at Purdue, and now they have to win this game if they want to have any chance of the Big Ten of winning the West for themselves. I don't think that'll be the case. I think it'll be close though, because Michigan obviously has Ohio State next week, and I am very scared they might blow this game. But I think they'll survive. I think it'll be a close one at home. It's supposed to be very cold. So that'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't think it's supposed to be that windy, but it's supposed to be very cold. So we'll see how that goes. It's gonna be Big Ten football in its prime. It's gonna be true Big Ten football. So something to see. But give me the Wolverines in a closer one than probably many expect. And then Straczynski has the Wolverines as well. Of course, we both took Michigan. What a surprise! Next we have TCU on the road against Baylor. This is the big noon Fox game. I think Baylor can make this one interesting. We all thought TCU might flounder against Texas. They did not. Now TCU's got a big one against Baylor. Some people still think they'll flounder. I don't. They proved that they can play defense against a good Texas offense. And they went on the road to Austin to play that game. I don't think going on the road to Baylor, of which Baylor just got thumped by Kansas State at home, I don't think this is going to be any different. I think this is a big one for TCU. They'll continue to prove the committee that they are a good team and continue to solidify themselves as number 4. So I think TCU gets the win. As for Straczynski, he also has TCU gain the win here and gain the win on the road in Waco, Texas. Now, next we have a huge rivalry. These two teams don't like each other, and this is huge for the Big Ten West. Next is the Iowa Hawkeyes on the road against Minnesota. Now, there's a lot of stuff to take into consideration here because Iowa beat Wisconsin. With Iowa beating Wisconsin, they have knocked Wisconsin out. And of course, with Purdue beating Illinois, now they put pretty much the entire West now in the conversation. Into the conversation for winning and getting to Indianapolis. And these two are right in the thick of it. But Iowa just beat Wisconsin last week, which has taken Wisconsin out of the conversation. Now they're down to 3-4 in the conference. Both Iowa, Minnesota, 4-3. The difference here is Iowa has beaten Purdue this year. Minnesota has not. So with a Minnesota win, Purdue will be in control. With an Iowa win, Iowa would be in control. So this is really a big game, not just for these two teams, but for Purdue as well, because they have a really easy schedule. They got Indiana and Northwestern Indiana. That's the way it goes. That's the order of it. Purdue first gets Northwestern and then gets Indiana to end the year. So likelihood is they're probably going to win both games. As for Minnesota, both Iowa and Minnesota and Illinois, they're all tied at 4-3. The assumption is Illinois would lose to the Wolverines, and then it's between these two. And if Iowa wins, well, their next game is Nebraska. So I think they should be winning that game. And you look at the Gophers, their next game is Wisconsin. So even if they were to win this game and Purdue were to lose somewhere, I think Purdue would be in pretty good position. This is a big game, though. This is a really good one. Both of these defenses for both of these teams have been very good this year. As really, there's Crazy thing about defenses this year. 4 of the top 5 defenses in the country are all from the Big Ten. Guess who 2 of those 4 Big Ten teams are? They're these 2 teams right here. So this is going to be a very fun game, I think. Iowa's offense obviously is a major problem. As for Minnesota, they have a nice offense with Tanner Morgan and a good running back and Mohamed Ibrahim. I think this is going to be really fun. Home game for Minnesota. This is a 4 o'clock Fox game. You don't want to miss it. This is going to be another great Big Ten football game. It's going to be so much fun to see. But give me the Gophers. I'm going with Minnesota here to get the win at home. Iowa just doesn't have an offense, and I think that's going to hurt them in this game. It's going to be a low scoring because both defenses are very good. But I think Minnesota wins a low scoring affair. Minnesota has proved they can win all kinds of different ways. So I think the Gophers, they get it done here. Big win for them as they knock off the Hawkeyes. As for Serbensky, he is also going with Minnesota, and he also said that he will not be watching this game. Well, you'll be missing. All right. I guess I don't disagree with you there. All right. That was pretty good. Next, we have two. Obviously, you see 2 big Pac-12 games here. We'll start with the first one, which is sadly a 10:30 Eastern game. Why does it have to be 10:30? Yes, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. Can't we have this game at a reasonable time? Like, I figured maybe you'd have this game at like 3:30 or something, and then USC UCLA would be the night Fox game, or vice versa. That makes more sense to me. You know what I'm saying? I really wish that was what they were doing here, but instead they have Utah Oregon being 10:30 on ESPN, which I guess I'll stay up for it, but I really don't want to because that is me losing a ton of sleep tomorrow. This is going to be a good game, though. Neither one of these 2 are very good defensively. Oregon's got 2 good linebackers, but clearly it has not really worked for them. Both of these offenses are really good. I'm going with Utah to get a rebound. They're back at home. They just lost to their big rival. They're frustrated. I think Oregon gets a bounce back win here, and they get it over the Utah Utes. That's where Serbensky is going to. He's got the Oregon Ducks gain a win in Eugene against the Utah Utes. And then, of course, game of the week, battle for the victory bell. Huge one in Los Angeles. Actually in Pasadena. USC at UCLA. This is a fantastic matchup. And really a fantastic matchup in this series. Of course, it would have been even better with UCLA not losing to Arizona. But these 2 are really, really good teams. USC's got, and really the colors too. I mean, really seeing those jerseys is one thing to really see. It's fun to see those 2 jerseys. For future Big Ten teams here, weirdly. I think you'll kind of forget about that. They're like, oh yeah, those 2 are joining the Big Ten for whatever reason. I really still don't know why. Well, money, obviously, but this is going to be a fantastic game, though. Both of these teams really don't have a lot of defense, so expect a lot of offense in this game. I'm expecting like 50s by both teams, probably at least. It's going to be something to see, though. It's going to be a very, very good game. As for who I am picking in this game, this is a very tough one because with the amount of scoring there's going to be in this game, like I said, I'm expecting just a crud ton of scoring. It's hard to really pick either team. I think USC, though, just has a little bit more than UCLA. USC didn't lose to Arizona at home. So, I mean, but this USC team is really good. And UCLA's offense has looked fantastic this year, but the one thing that I just really haven't seen from them is, a deep passing game. I mean, their offense is, like I said, their offense is going to score, but I think USC just, they have a little bit more, maybe they have a little bit more defense in them. Obviously, they got like one of the sack leaders in the country, so maybe they get Dorian Thompson, DTR, in the backfield a little bit. I think this is going to be very fun, though. Don't miss this at 8 o'clock, ESPN, of course. I'm in the Eastern time zone, so everything I'm saying for time is all in the Eastern time zone. But this is going to be a very good one. Give me USC, though, in a close one. Serbinsky is going to go with UCLA to get the upset and just completely ruin the entire Pac 12's chances of going to the CFP, which would be very atypical of the Pac 12. But that's all we got for tonight, or today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video. And until then, I'll catch you later. Until next time, adios, everyone.